The majority of people are going to be average, and that is okay, as greatness is neither desirable for the majority of people nor is within their control. The notion of being average seems to have a certain negative connotation in recent years as financial gurus or other quote-unquote experts have sold the idea of greatness to us, and that to live a fulfilled life, one must attain the highest possible achievements. Don't get me wrong, there is absolutely nothing wrong with the pursuit of greatness and achieving something admirable, but for the majority it is impossible, and it is not their fault, as certain things are not within their full control. Here are why many of us will never do something remarkable with our lives. There was an experiment involving a dog, a bell, and food that is popular in psychology. The experiment was conducted by Ivan Pavlov to test classical conditioning, which is an unconscious way we acquire knowledge, ideas, behaviors, and attitudes through association. To test his theory, Pavlov set up an experiment where he would present his dog with food right after the sound of the bell. At first, the dog would only salivate when the food arrives, but over time, through conditioning and association with the stimuli, the sound of the bell alone would make the dog salivate. In the experiment, Pavlov have also noticed that the rate at which we associate a certain phenomenon with the stimulus depends on how noticeable that stimulus is. Many psychologists agree with the notion that classical conditioning is the basic form of learning. This human condition is a powerful one, as it could either make or break us. This then opens doors to many possibilities and conditioning, since our brain absorbs a lot of information daily, consciously or unconsciously. So we may be easily influenced than we originally thought, as our unconscious response to external stimuli may run far deeper than we imagine. For example, in school, if we were to conform to the classroom's rules, we are then rewarded with praise from our teacher. From a very young age, we are indoctrinated to be the same as everyone, as those who are different or cause trouble would be punished. So our mind's natural association would tend toward conformity, as our brain expects rewards as a result of such behavior. The stimulus in this case is very noticeable. Good behavior equals praise or rewards, while bad behavior equals scolding or punishments. So we are very quick to be conditioned to conform. The same conditioning is enforced on us as we grow older as well. We are told that the path towards success is to go to a good university and get a good job afterward. Admirable, but breeds mediocrity as everyone is in the same pursuit, and such a path does not suit everyone. There is no such thing as one size fits all, but we are forced to walk on it because everyone else is doing it. Thus, the dogma to conform with the masses and do not stand out is instilled within us. Mind you, there is nothing wrong with the desire to conform with others in order to gain praise or acceptance from the group. It is the human condition to desire such a thing. For our ancestors, being an outcast from the tribe would mean certain death, so evolutionary. Those who are bound by the rules and stick to the tribe are naturally favoured. Thus, from a biological perspective, it makes logical sense for us to reject something that may result in us being outcasted from the tribe, so we stick to the safest path, which is to conform. This unconscious desire to fit in, either through the evolutionary point of view or traditional conditioning, is limiting a lot of us from greatness, and it is not a fault of our own, as it is not within our control. The human culture is one that celebrates both the exception and the average. The appeal of the exception is due to their extraordinary talents and rarity, while the lust for averageness stems from the need to be part of a group. When we think of the greatest people, we seem to admire them, admire their tenacity and their ingenuity, but that is simply the front that they show that we are truly awed by. The struggle and the pain are not so beautiful to display, so either by design or accident, those are kept hidden behind the glitter and glamour of their greatness and success. It does not take long before the celebration of those who have achieved greatness turns into one of dislike. Not the dislike of the achievement or the greatness itself, but the aversion to the lifestyle and the dedication that it took to reach such a state of performance. The discipline that is required to be great is not something that everyone can handle. So although we may admire those who have achieved greatness, we do not wish to sacrifice the same way they did. The results that are displayed in front of us are usually the product of decades of dedication and commitment, or maybe even a lifetime of work. Take Friedrich Nietzsche, for example. Nietzsche is one of the most influential philosophers of the modern world. Born in 1844, this German philosopher, whose career started in classical philologist, Nietzsche's work has had a profound influence on contemporary philosophy. His greatness had shown itself earlier on in his career. Nietzsche, at the age of 24, became the youngest person to hold the chair of classical philology at the University of Basel. Although Nietzsche did not achieve great success during his lifetime, he spent much of his time dedicated to the perfection of his craft. He's an advocate for ones to truly attempt to strive for absolute greatness in life. "I know of no better life purpose than to perish in attempting the great and the impossible," said Nietzsche. For Nietzsche, the pursuit of power, not in terms of political power or influence over other people, but in the form of the pursuit of greatness and advancing toward one's goal, is the greatest work of life. According to him, the ultimate goal of life is not to be happy, but to continuously improve oneself toward that certain goal. Although physical and mental health seems to plague Nietzsche's entire life, it is hard to not ponder whether his attempt to pursue the impossible had a role in the decline of his mental health during the latter part of his life. Was this the price he had to pay for the greatness he had achieved? Other truly exceptional people seem to be in the same boat as Nietzsche, a single life purpose that they dedicate much of their waking hours in pursuit of it. This urge to be great is like a double-edged sword. One side gives you meaning and purpose in life, while the other side could cut you deeply if the obsession runs too high, which is why the trope of the starving artists seem to be appealing to certain kind of people. The romanticization of artists, painters or musicians who have sacrificed materialistic wealth or their well-being in the pursuit of their craft is one that does not depict reality. Humans require much more than a goal in order to live a fulfilled life. Family, friends, and a certain amount of comfort are enough for some to consider as a life well lived. So the romanticization of the relentless pursuit of a single purpose may not resonate with a lot of people. It comes to no surprise then that many people do not wish nor desire such a lifestyle, no matter how admirable or romantic it may seem, because the price of greatness is a luxury that they do not wish to indulge in. So the silver lining to all these is that not everyone desires greatness. Only a selected few are driven enough to seek out such a promiscuous aspiration, hoping that once they achieve their quote-unquote greatness, they will truly be fulfilled. Hence, they are capable and willing to sacrifice their time, health, relationships, and other essentials for human function in that single pursuit, as shown by some of the greatest individuals throughout history and in contemporary times. Many of us may actually be propelled toward mediocrity, whether for the sake of fitting in with the rest, or the unwillingness to sacrifice other aspects of our lives in pursuit of a single goal. Thus, the majority of us are not going to do anything remarkable, and that is okay. In fact, I would argue that should be the norm. Do not let the toxic view of life or success alter your perspectives on what makes a good life. Since everyone is different, then you shall seek to define your own happiness and your ultimate goal in life, while rejecting everything else. Unfortunately, for some, even if they desire greatness and do everything within their power to achieve it, it does not necessarily yield them greatness. So this brings us to the concept of luck. Luck plays a crucial role in determining whether you will be great or mediocre. No one wants to hear this truth, however, as they want to believe that everything they have obtained is just the fruit of their labor. But that is only half of the picture. There are two sides to luck. One side is where we are in full control, which means we are able to make our own luck. Seneca said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." An opportunity may be presented in front of us, but without much preparation, we are more than likely to let the opportunity slip by. This is the idea of shaping our luck, which is to prepare beforehand, and when the opportunity arises, we will be capable of taking advantage of it. Here, Only our input is a variable that we could alter and influence, but as for the output, that is completely determined by luck. This brings us to the other side of luck, which is not within our control. For instance, doing something may result in success one day, but doing the same thing the next day may not necessarily yield the same outcome. Why? If everything is the result of our labor, why does the same action yield completely different scenarios? This is the other half of luck, which will limit a lot of us from achieving anything remarkable. One of the more popular examples given about luck is from the book Outlier. Malcolm Gladwell, the author of the book, observed that many of the best players in the top ice hockey team were born between January and March. The cut-off date for the hockey team is January 1st, so those who were born closer to January 1st would have a comparative advantage in terms of size relative to those who were born later during the year. Thus, those children were given more attention and quote-unquote care from coaches, hence increasing their chances of becoming pro hockey players in this self-fulfilling prophecy. Here, in this example, the date of birth of the children nor the cut-off date is within their control. But those who were born closer to the cut-off date are more lucky since they are more mature compared to children who were born closer to the end of the year. Of course, this discrepancy in size and ability would normalize as the children grow, but for now, they will be relatively better and get more attention from coaches, which increases their luck of joining a professional team. This idea of luck is related to one of the most important Stoic philosophy, which is the dichotomy of control. Epictetus said that one of the most important tasks of life is to be able to distinguish between what is and what is not within our control. Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and in one word, whatever are not our own actions. This is the idea of two sides of luck. It is then through wisdom that we are able to distinguish between what is and what is not within our circle of control. We must only focus on what we can control, while things that are not within our control should not distract or slow us down. This is applicable to the outcome of our action, as it is not within our direct control. As explored earlier, the same action on different days will yield completely different results. Thus, whether in this life we can become great or average depends largely on luck. Both sides of luck, that is. This is the Maya Codices. It is a folding book that was written in Maya hieroglyphic script on Mesoamerican bark paper by pre-Columbian Maya civilization. In the 16th century, the conquistadors and the Catholic priests destroyed many of the codices, as they were concerned that the codices may interfere with the conversion of the Mayans. These records contain information regarding the Mayan civilization, culture, and religion for more than 800 years back. Only 3 or 4 of such codices survived the mass burning of books. Here, our history is flawed. Much of human history is lost, either through the lack of record or the destruction of such records. So what we know of the past civilizations and its people is incomplete. Being remarkable enough to be part of history is one thing, and to have such a record of your greatness to survive the passage of time is another story on its own. This is the first emperor of China. In 221 BCE, Yi Zheng, at the age 38, managed to unite China and establish the Qin dynasty. He then gave himself the title of Qi Huangdi, which means the first emperor. Before his death, the emperor searched extensively for the elixir of immortality. He sent men to frontier regions and remote villages in search of immortality. He was also thought to have consumed mercury sulfide, which is poisonous. He ruled over united China for merely a decade and died at merely 49 years old. What does this all mean? It means that life is short and humans fear death. Much of the human achievements may be attributed to the fear of being forgotten. We all want to leave a legacy behind after we pass so that we will be remembered for generations to come. Unfortunately, life is incredibly fast. and you will most likely not reach the height of greatness to the point of being remembered by history. This is not our fault either. Going on a bit of a tangent here, but history also has a knack for remembering the obscure events of the past. Tycho Brahe, a Danish astronomer in the late 16th century, is remembered for wearing a brass nose. He had lost the bridge of his nose during a duel after a heated quarrel with his third cousin. And this is William Archibald Spooner, a professor at Oxford University in the early 20th century, is remembered for his Spoonerism, which is named after him. Spoonerism is the act of swapping letters, words, or vowels in a sentence, either by accident or intentionally. People would attend his class just to witness him making mistakes. Although the story above is just a few examples of the eccentric and weird things that history remembers, and many of us will probably never go down in history for such things. However, all of these do beg a question. Does the desire to be remembered by history play a role in motivating us to seek greatness? Or is the idea of simply vanishing after death sufficient for us? Or will history be rigged against us, and our achievement in this lifetime, no matter how great it may seem now, be lost in the passage of time?